How's everything going over there? Are you feeling pretty healthy now at 170? Is it nice not having to cut so much weight?
Yeah, man, I'm coming in like probably 8 pounds overweight, watered up, so feel healthy and normal.
This one feels really big. I feel like if you look at the numbers, everybody's kind of watching all the previews for you guys, and everyone's calling it the people's main event. Does it feel big to you?
Man, it's just one of them fights that should have happened a long time ago. I mean, this is like Diaz been talking so much trash for so long. He got his McGregor thing, disappeared for a little bit, but here we are, and it's time to settle it.
What is that like for you guys mentally? I mean, you're a professional. You kind of been through everything in a fight. I'm sure you fought guys you don't like and guys you do like, but does it make a difference for you going in?
Not at all. No. I mean, obviously the pre-fight hype is a little more entertaining when you don't like somebody. You got more stuff to say. My last opponent, Wonder Boy, I mean, cool guy. Nothing. You can't say nothing bad about that dude. So there's a little bit of switch up of a pace. But I'm 31 fights into this thing. I fought everybody. You know, I'm not, nothing new for me. Nothing that he's gonna throw at me that I haven't seen before. Just go out there and have fun and handle business.
You became a champion pretty young in the game. You fought pretty much a who's who in this industry. Where would you put yourself now in terms of where you're at? Like, do you feel like you're at your peak now? You fought three different weight classes. You're at 170 now, and this age, where do you put yourself in terms of your wisdom and your ability?
Yeah, I think I'm only getting better, man. And honestly, like without cutting that weight and hurting my body like that, my performances are going to be that much better. Wonder Boy fight, I had to get a little bit thicker and a little bit bigger for his style of fight. This fight, I toned up, leaned down. I got a six-pack at 170 pounds, and I'm ready to go.
What do you make of Nate's style up against yours? Of course, you know, you mentioned it's a matchup that could have happened years ago, so you would have been through this fight with your coaches many, many times, and he's a pretty well-rounded guy.
I mean, I wouldn't call him well-rounded. I think he's tough. He hasn't changed his fighting style since he started. Great boxing, durable, good jiu-jitsu. Works well against guys who take him down, and works well against guys who don't kick with him. We've seen him fight Ben Henderson. We've seen him fight RDA. We've seen him fight all the kickers. Conor McGregor's second fight when he kicked him. Totally different fight. So it's just for me, everybody knows I'm a kicker. I'm gonna go out there and kick this guy as much as I can, put these hands on him, and try to finish him.
Your coach believes that this could be an Anthony Pettis submission. What do you feel about that?
I want to finish. You know, I told my coach I won't be happy unless I add this guy to my highlight reel, and that's what I plan on doing.
What do you make of the division right now? I feel like potentially this is the most exciting division in the UFC right now, 170. Does that excite you to now be in the mixer?
I think, you know, when you put my name in there, man, it just makes that much more exciting, too. You got Diaz coming back. You got Masvidal with that crazy knee over Askren. Askren's still around. I mean, there's so many good guys at 170 pounds. And for me, it makes that much more entertaining and more motivated to train. You know, under a guy like Diaz, I didn't need any extra motivation. I was up every morning, 6 a.m., ready to go, just because I know what was at stake coming up to this. It's not just about winning or losing in this fight. This is about legacy. This is about everything, all the shit he's been talking, all that animosity. This is it right here. This is where I get to solve it and end it. And hopefully it's done after this, man. You know, I'm not that kind of dude where I hold grudges, and it didn't seem like he has a real grudge. Like, I didn't really know what his beef was with me. He always just talked shit. And then he said it kind of sounded like he was jealous of my Wheaties box and my success. So, I mean, if there's no real beef after we handle this, it is what it is.
Do you have to deal with that? Is that a thing you've always had to face? People being jealous of you? Do you think?
I think people. I came in this sport and just took it by storm right away. You know, and I didn't have to go through the rankings like I went through the rankings in the WC, and then I got over, fought three guys, got a title shot in the UFC. But I earned that shit, man. Like these guys act like I was just given it. Like look at my record, look at the guys who I fought, look at where I've been at in my career, man. Like I've earned this shit. So you know, I don't really care about any of that. You know, for me it's just now where I'm at in my career. I used to think about other people and like the fans and all that. For me, it's all about proving it to myself now. Like I'm at the point in my career, I've done everything for everybody else. It's my time.
Do you think you'll stick at 170, or is it just an advantage for you that you're pretty flexible in terms of weight classes?
I think it's just an advantage for me. I've always knew I can go to 170. You know, I went to 45 first just to see if I could do it. Mistake. You know, that hurt my body so bad, man. To recover from that weight cut, this weight cut right here is probably the first time I was like, man, now I feel good cutting weight. Even the Wonder Boy fight, the last couple pounds were hurting me. So I think that Max Holloway cut scarred me for sure. But when I look back at my career, I would never say like I didn't want to do it. I fought at 145 pounds, the best in the world. I fought at 155 pounds, best in the world, and now I'm about to do it again at 170 pounds.
What does a convincing win over Nate Diaz do for you?
I don't care. Honestly, it's not about title shots. It's not about advancing. It's about whooping this guy's ass, and that's it.
Well, it's interesting, man. I think I spoke to you in Las Vegas with the Khabib Conor card, and you said your mind state had changed a little bit because you spent a long time trying to get the belt back and become a world champion again. But has your priorities changed a bit because you've already become a world champion? So is it about a different thing now each fight?
No, it's not. It's not the priority. I definitely want to be the best in the world, but I understand now it's not a race. This is a marathon, and I can't race my way back. And that's what I was trying to do. I was taking fights. Tony fight, 5-week notice. Like, stuff like that is what gives me my little setback. So now, even the Tony fight was a great fight. I could have been way more prepared, and no one in the world knows what I went through to get to make that fight happen. So for me, it's just making the right fights happen and making sure I'm healthy when I do it.
Do you have any sympathy for Tony in the sense that his resume, what he's achieved, and still not getting a title shot?
Tony's the man, bro, and that's that's another guy I want to fight again just because it was a fun fucking fight, So that's a guy. Tony is for real one of the best at lightweight. He's for real right now the uncrowned king of lightweight, I'd say, and that's coming from my mouth. He needs a title shot. He needs to fight for that belt.
You do have a ridiculous highlight reel in terms of people you've fought, whether you've won or you've lost. You really there's been so many exciting fights on the resume. Do you think this has the potential to top everything in terms of what both of you can potentially bring?
I think I'm going to shock the world. This guy's been out for 3 years. I've been active, fighting the best in the world. I just fought Wonder Boy. I just put Wonder Boy's skill set and Diaz's skill set together. Wonder Boy is a way harder puzzle to solve than Diaz, So I think, it definitely has the making to be a good fight, but I feel like I'm going to go out there and shock everybody. Everybody's remembering Diaz that beat Conor McGregor. How about the guy who lost to RDA, Ben Henderson, to who's who of lightweight division? He lost, and then he got 2 fights from McGregor, won one, lost one, and he's the best thing ever. So, trying to remind everybody, I've been in the front line since I started this thing.
You're not buying into the whole narrative about ring rust with him. It has been an awfully long time since he fought. Do you think he'll be weakened at all by that?
Not at all. I think ring rust to a guy like Diaz is non-existent. Diaz is a fighter, and that's what I respect about him, man. Even though me and him have our beef, he's a fighter. He's a fighter's fighter. He comes in, he puts his chin, bites on his mouthpiece and goes. And I love that. That's what I want. I love putting on entertaining fights, and this is the perfect opponent to do it. And his wrestling isn't strong enough where I got to be worry about him holding me down for 15 minutes. Our jiu-jitsu, I'm excited to see it. I've yet to find a guy in the UFC that gave me trouble in jiu-jitsu. Charles Oliveira, nothing. Gilbert Melendez, Ben Henderson, all these guys that are supposed to be studs at jiu-jitsu, I haven't had trouble yet. I haven't had a guy even put me in a threatening position yet. So we'll see.
It's going to be awesome, man. It's a pretty incredible card throughout. The main event's pretty tasty as well. Who do you think has that one, DC or Stipe?
I love Stipe, man, but DC is just well-rounded guy, man. You know what? The only thing I will say, if DC is on the way out, the way he's talking about, this could be his last fight. Stipe's hungry, so hopefully, DC finishes, the way he's supposed to, and ends up retiring as a champ and not, a challenger or something.
I'm going to finish off with something I ask everybody, man. I'm speaking to you from Singapore, so what chances are we see Showtime out in Asia fighting anytime soon?
I would love to get out there in Singapore. I know Ben was out there. Ben Askren was out there a bunch of times, and I've always wanted to make the journey out there, but it never matched up with my training camps and his training camp. So hopefully one day, I'm going to go Abu Dhabi, Mexico City, and we'll see what happens after that.